Peace, peace. This is O.G.B.O for the Ministry of Information. Were you aware that in 1977 or 1978, the CDC labeled homosexuality as a mental disorder? Were you also aware that in 1977 or 1978, CDC labeled homosexuality, male on male that is, as a white male phenomenon? Not that other male ethnic groups, or racial groups wasn't um, showing signs of homosexuality within the group, but by comparison, it was almost non-comparant at all. The growth of homosexuality among white people was so great that it was considered almost exclusively a white male phenomenon. 20 years later, the CDC relabeled it. Is no longer labeled as a mental disorder. That's very important to note. And 20 years later, 1997 or 98, it was considered, by comparison and growth, to be almost exclusively a black male phenomenon. Not that other groups or racial groups were not showing signs of homosexuality within their group, but the growth was so great in the black community when compared to other groups, it was almost uncomparable. And when you consider, at the time we was considered to be 12-13% of the population, 20 years after the study was given, where it was almost exclusively a white male phenomenon, when they were 40, 60, 70% the population. Now you got 70% versus 12-13%. Both showing growth so rapid in their group that it's almost comparable to others. But the biggest difference is one was 70% the population, and the other is 13% the population. This is very important to be factored. When you look at it that way, you have to ask yourself, why now? Their growth shows that this could not be just a progressive thing that grew legs 20 years ago. To have that amount, to grow that rapid in comparison with other racial groups, to be considered almost exclusively a black phenomenon at 13% in comparison to 70%, one have to ask the very logical question: is someone tampering with black genetics, either through shots that are being mandated, physical doctor appointments? At some point, it looks to be someone have to be playing with the genetics in black people. Someone have to be playing with the hormones in black people. That's the only thing that would make any type of reasonable sense. Again, for it to almost be exclusively a black male phenomenon at 13% in comparison to 70% when it was a white phenomenon, considered a white phenomenon, there would have been significant growth in this early on. But it was almost non-existent when compared to whites just 20 years ago. Now at 13%, it's almost exclusive when looking at the rate of growth, a black male phenomenon. Something about that just does not add up. But you're welcome to put your theory, your hypothesis, your rhetoric in the comment section. This is O.G.B.O for the Ministry of Information. Peace.